stuff too, because like I tend to do like a lot of run-on sentences, you know, like I'll just...
I like the first one.
Why?
Because it's like very detailed and like they talk about how it's unusually hot.
More like tell their tone by the exclamation points and all that.
So blended learning is a formal education program that combines active engaged learning online with active engaged learning in the classroom. And the benefit is that students have some control over the time and the place and also the pace of their learning. I'm really excited about trying to get students to engage, which is challenging if all you're doing in the classroom is really lecturing at kids or talking at them. So the more we can use online elements to enhance that face-to-face instruction, I feel like the more engaged and excited they're going to be as learners.
I think it is definitely more interactive, and it keeps it fun instead of boring because you are interacting with your peers instead of just watching a teacher lecture you, and there are so many different activities and the class is moving so fast that there isn't a moment to get bored.
You're always trying to catch up with what she's doing, so instead of like getting off task, what we do is like we're trying to get everything done, like so there's no room to get off task since you're trying to get everything done so quickly.
For teachers in traditional classrooms, probably the three approaches that work best are station rotation model, the whole group rotation, and flipped classroom. So station rotation is a model where primarily the learning is happening in the classroom, and a teacher will break up students into smaller learning communities or learning groups and create a series of stations in the classroom. And so that gives me a chance to work with that group at the skill level that they're at, provide one-on-one support as they practice. It also allows me to create differentiated stations. So as they move through stations, I can adapt the task at a particular station so that's really meeting the needs of that particular group coming through. So one station might be a blast, one station might be a first read, depending on how many devices I have. And then one station, maybe they're using the print companion with StudySync. All right, start organizing materials at your station for the next group, please. The flipped classroom is probably the blended learning model most people have heard of, at least traditional teachers. And the idea is that you take the transfer of knowledge, or information, the transfer of information, and you shift it online.
I like having classes with not a lot of lecture time because there's less transition time wasting, and when she has the other things online, really her lessons that we learn at home, we can kind of go into depth with it more if we need to, or we can move at our own pace rather than sitting there. I feel like if it's going too slow for me, I tend to zone out and not pay attention as well, whereas if it's not all lecture time, I feel like I'm paying attention more to it.
The beauty of the flip model isn't the videos or however you're transferring information online. The real magic happens in the classroom when kids are applying and they're having conversations and they're collaborating and they're problem solving together. So I love it because it creates more time for me to get them kind of putting their hands on learning or really thinking about what we're doing and trying to apply it together. I really want to shift them from these passive observers or these passive recipients of information and really push them into a much more active role as generators of information and, really play with the information in the classroom. I flip my vocabulary instruction, my writing instruction, and my grammar instruction. So anytime I'm tempted to stand up and talk at my students, I will make a video. Or I make them research it and then they have to present to each other. I literally never stand in front of my class and talk at them. Whole group rotation just means that as an entire class, you're moving between online and offline activities. Venn diagram, on one side, argumentative writing thesis statements for literature and thesis statements for argumentative that's research, and what is similar about them and what is different about those thesis statements. 3 minutes, quick comparison, go. For a traditional teacher just making their kind of first steps into blended learning, sometimes the whole group rotation is a little less daunting because you're moving through a lesson together. So it mirrors kind of a traditional lesson that might not have technology, and then a teacher can just add the technology into the lesson, but everybody's on the same page, working on the same things, so they can put out fires, answer questions. So it's an easier transition for some teachers than maybe getting into station rotation where you're designing multiple learning experiences.